You are watching UCU Focus TV.
Hello and welcome to this edition of the Focus Point. I am Ninah Nankunda, your host for today. On the 20th of June 2025, the Speaker of Parliament issued a letter to the students' body concerning the constitutional amendment. So in studio with me today are two gentlemen here to discuss with us further upon this issue. I have Mr. Marvin Murungi, the MP School of Law. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I also have Mr. John Albert Mwanika, the president of Basogansete. Please welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for hosting me.
Thank you. So, I want to hear from you, Mr. Marvin, concerning how far the Guild has reached with addressing this issue. We got to know there was a parliamentary sitting and there were issues that were raised during the launchpad debate on how the students felt about the amendment of the Constitution. So how far has the Guild come when addressing this issue?
Thank you so much. I would like to begin by thanking you for inviting me for this opportunity. And I'll dive straight in. So we issued a memo where we were inviting, specifically the memo was calling on the Fraternity of Uganda Christian University to send in suggestions, ideas that they think would be relevant for the amendment of the Guild Constitution. And of course, we had to link up with the Launchpad Debate Club because I think that is a forum that most of the students use to air most of their views, and it was a wonderful opportunity. Then we had our first Guild Parliament sitting where we aired out most of these ideas, but of which this was all preceding the activity that was done by the legal committee. And I personally sit on the legal committee as the secretary of this committee, where we also have the speaker of the 27th Guild government, Mr. Michael Joseph Tenywa, who is our chairperson. And we also have other members, ex-officials on the team. We have the deputy speaker, Honorable Betty Takali, and also we have Honorable Tombe, the MP in charge of the international students. So the legal committee sat down and looked at many of the, I don't even want to call them few. Actually, I would believe that the Constitution does not only need an amendment, the Constitution would require a complete overhaul. But the amendments that we were able to come up with were some that we were able to table in the first parliamentary sitting that we had. And I can say it was a good opportunity. Most of the members of parliament were able to address many of them. And we also await our second sitting that will be happening next week on Monday. And after that sitting is where we shall then proceed to the next level, which is provided for under Article 111 of the Guild Constitution, which provides for the procedure of amendment. And that will be under Clause 2, which says that, I'll read verbatim, petitions in Clause 1, A and B above shall be considered for approval by Parliament and then forwarded, which is the second step I was talking about, to the Director of Studies and the Legal Officer, who will in turn transmit the same to the Vice Chancellor for Council in order to obtain parliamentary approval. The petition must be passed by affirmative vote of 2/3 of all the members of Parliament present at 2 consecutive sittings, therefore. So we have so far had one sitting. The next sitting will happen next week on Monday.
Okay, so for a person out there who doesn't know what needs to be amended in the Constitution, could you give a hint of maybe the articles or the things that are not provided for? Because we know of a few positions, for example, the Prime Minister's position that is not provided for, then a bit of the electoral process that is also not clear in the Constitution. Are there any other that would like to be addressed?
So I don't think I'll be given an opportunity to be very exhaustive with all the articles, but I think the ones that have the most contentions are, one, the first that we noticed as a legal committee was the supremacy of this constitution. You know, in constitutional law, we regard the constitution as the grand norm. The grand norm is specifically a law that is the complete, it is the highest in the hierarchy, yeah, and all the other laws are subordinate to it. So here we are in a position whereby we have a guild constitution, yeah, and the guild constitution is supposed to be adhered to by the members of the guild community and also the Uganda Christian University fraternity as a whole. But we have been having challenges with seeing or implementing the supremacy of this constitution. Yeah. So that is something that we wanted to first look at as a legal committee. What exactly is being provided in the constitution and what exactly is being done on ground. So that is why when you look at Article 1, which talks about the supremacy, there was a bit of ambiguity. Yeah, there was a lot of ambiguity with the statement of the supremacy of the constitution. So I think that is something that is very necessary for us to take note of. Yeah, that in the process we are going to be able to look at placing the supremacy of the constitution above everything else. Yeah, and that is provided under Article 1. For our viewers who are going to be able to, of course, maybe those who will be able to look at the Constitution as they also follow up with this program, they'll realize that there is still a lot of ambiguity, and that is something that we hope to be able to solve with the amendments, with the proposed amendments. The next amendment would be looking at the articles that also deal with the key roles for members of parliament. Yeah, when you look at the constitution provides for the election or for the position of members of parliament. But we have been facing a challenge for quite some time of failing to realize what are the key roles of the members of parliament. Because yes, it goes without saying that the members of parliament are in charge of attending the parliamentary sittings, and aside from attending the parliamentary sittings, they are able to voice out their issues for each of their constituencies, which are the faculties of Uganda Christian University, and the issues that they will table are those that the parliament will then proceed to make a sort of maybe regulation or be able to propose a sort of change. But aside from that, we do not see the members of parliament surfacing anywhere else. Yeah, it has now created a status quo where many of the members of parliament are going to be elected into many of these positions, and they don't know exactly what they are doing. You get me? That is where many of the members of the fraternity have been saying that, the members of parliament just sit on the parliamentary committee and they attend sittings and that's it, and they are paid a salary. Yeah, it is until this sitting this 27th Guild Parliament where we are having the role now of amending the constitution that we are seeing many of these people doing all of this. Yes. So I will not be very exhaustive with many of them, but those are some of the key issues we are also going to look at. You preempted the office of the Prime Minister, which is not also provided for. But when you keenly look at Article 42, if I recall properly, Article 42 provides for the roles of the General Secretary and the Deputy General Secretary. But the roles that are stipulated under are those that have been occupied by the office of the Prime Minister. So do you think, in your perspective, do you think that the office of the General Secretary and the Deputy General Secretary are still necessary? And yet we have the office of the Prime Minister who is not prescribed for under the law. So that is where we are trying to deal with this double jeopardy that we are in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you asked a question of, do I think the roles are so? I'm going to put the question to
Please.
Mr. Mwanika. Could you please help me address that question that he put across?
Which question?
He said, do we the
office
roles
of the
Prime
General
Minister
Secretary. are coinciding with the roles of the
Okay.
office of the Prime Minister, who is not provided for under the Constitution.
Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity. Once again, my name is Monica Albert. I'm a panelist today. So, regarding the amendments of the Guild Constitution, I think this Constitution, I personally believe this Constitution, it is high time we amend it because there are so many irregularities that we are operating in. Just as you've said, the Office of the General Secretary and the Office of the Prime Minister are having coinciding roles. So, who needs to be eliminated? First of all, as well, the General Secretary is there, is constitutionally in place, but the Office of the Prime Minister has not been put in place, which means that the Prime Minister is operating illegally right now. So, as the Guild Parliament is reviewing these amendments, they should find a way and harmonize. Either they do with the Office of the Prime Minister or they remain with the General Secretary. But I personally cannot say that this office should go and this office should leave. So, it is upon Parliament to decide whether the Office of the General Secretary stays in place so that the Office of the Prime Minister is taken off, or they take off the Office of the General Secretary and they officially integrate the Office of the Prime Minister into the Guild Constitution. Then the other issue that we have not yet addressed is about the Office of the Attorney General. Is one of the people who are operating illegally in this university, the Attorney General of the Guild government, because he is also not provided for in the Constitution. If you look at Article 113 of the Guild Constitution, it provides for the legal office of the university, who is the principal legal advisor, but we also have in here the Attorney General. And if you look at the national laws and compare them to ours here, the Attorney General is supposed to be the principal legal advisor of the government, but the Guild Constitution provides that it's the legal officer also, which means the Office of the Attorney General is also operating illegally. So on top of the Office of the Prime Minister and the General Secretary, they should also look at considering between the Attorney General and the legal officer, and they should also try to separate the Minister of Justice and the Attorney General being the same person holding two different offices. So it doesn't make any sense in anyhow. So the Parliament, as reviewing this Constitution, it has to make so many changes in it. On top of that, electoral reforms also have to be made in that very Constitution, because we always do online elections, but they're not provided for in the Constitution. They are nowhere in the Constitution. So these are the things that, for this Constitution to still be relevant and to still be relevant in the changing situation, they should also have to imply those provisions whereby online election, if it is online, then we should know that the Constitution provides for it. Because I can give you a situation. How can you petition an online election in case it was not free and fair? What are you going to base on? You don't have anything to base on apart from results being displayed there, that so and so has got this percentage, so and so has got this. So are you going to base on the percentage that they have given you to go and petition? Not really. So the Guild Parliament should also look at this. How are we going to address this? Because now we have voted fully to online elections, providing for look at nominations and vetting. You tell someone to go for nominations and after they go for vetting. The person has been nominated by the students but is after vetted off. So it doesn't really make sense. Why don't you vet someone before nominating them? And even the Constitution does not provide for nominations anywhere in our Guild Constitution. It's not anywhere provided for. Me personally, even the electoral reform should be reviewed as well, because you know you can tell someone that he has to be first nominated, then he goes for voting again, they take them off. Then why were they nominated at first in the first place?
Yeah.
So they should also try to revise these electoral reforms and how they should try to harmonize them. Then also they should clarify roles and responsibilities, just as Mr. Marvin has said, the roles and responsibilities of different guild leaders. We're in a situation whereby a minister is being asked for accountability, but it's the guild tribunal that is summoning him. That's not part of the roles of the Guild Tribunal. It's supposed to be a committee of Parliament. So, as Mr. Marvin, you're making these reviews, you should look at the standing committees of Parliament and you should provide for the procedures, how these committees should provide and how the minister should provide accountability to these committees. Not being there, the Chief Justice sits anywhere and they start summoning ministers to give accountability to the Guild Tribunal.
I would like to interject at that exact point that you're talking about.
Yes.
The Guild Constitution is a mirror image of the 1995 Constitution of the Republic of Uganda as amended. So the Constitution of Uganda provides for committees, parliamentary committees, and I think we are all very aware of COSASE. COSASA is in charge of that review, and so that is something that is also still lacking in our guild constitution. That is something that, as you have stated, is supposed to be gradually introduced into the system, because it does not make sense for the Attorney General, to summon and summon a guild official on matters requiring accountability, and so it looks more as a civil suit that has been instituted against a guild official, but that civil suit does not exactly say are you bringing someone for an issue or a civil suit that is in terms of corruption? Is it in terms of is it in terms of abuse of office? Yeah, because you are more or less looking for accountability, which can actually be done by a parliamentary committee. Yeah, but we do not have a parliamentary committee in place. Yeah, so I love the idea that Mr. Mwanika has suggested there, and these are some of the non-exhaustive, amendments, the proposed amendments that we are still looking at as the legal committee and also as Parliament as we wait for the next sitting.
Maybe to add on what I was still submitting, just as you have said, because we are in this, it is in issue where we are having abuse of office, because as the Attorney General, why would you summon a minister and start threatening them to sue them? A minister that you're also responsible for, as Attorney, because that's what is supposed to represent the government.
Yes.
But you're suing the fellow official in the government as the Attorney General. So who is going to be responsible for that very minister that you're threatening to sue? So these are the things that Parliament has to clarify. These standing committees, we need them. They should be put into place, and they should clearly define the mechanisms of how they can resolve this dispute and any grievances. They may be having guild officials. You don't have to start threatening, suing each other, starting to threaten each other, Attorney General threatening ministers. So, well, is that really government if the government is being led by threats? So these are the things that the Parliament should include, and they should establish accountability mechanism. How are these ministers? Yes, you're in this ministry, but how are you going to provide this accountability? Because we are having every year we are having a scandal whereby ministers are running away with our funds. So Parliament should streamline and should come up with procedures on how the ministers are supposed to give accountability and how they are supposed to account for their money and make those decisions. And also simplify and clarify the decision-making processes, not just coming up one day and say this and this and this and this and this. So Parliament should make more clarifications on areas of accountability, dispute resolutions, clarifying on the roles and responsibilities of different offices, then offices which are operating illegally, the Office of the Prime Minister, the Office of the Attorney General. Such things have to be instituted in the Constitution, as they are making these amendments. But most important, the electoral reforms, they should be looked at, because if you look at in the current election that we are conducting, we are operating under illegalities. All elections we have been having, we are operating under illegalities, because that's what not the Constitution provides for. And after that, you start saying that Article 1 provides the Constitution being the supreme law of the students. But what we are doing is against the Constitution. A guild tribunal convicts someone, and one day you come up to say that this person is not guilty, as yes, however much the guild tribunal has convicted them, but they are not guilty, and you take away a judgment delivered by a guild tribunal, which is provided for in the Constitution, and after that you're saying the Constitution is the supreme law. So Parliament should see how they should make the Constitution more relevant and how it can adapt to the current situations. That would be my submission on that.
So, Mr. Moronji,
yes, please.
As the students or as the body, how sure are we that after the Constitution is amended, it is going to be implemented fully?
It is. I love the question that you have posed, because it gives us two sides of the coin. The side of these amendments have been proposed. We have gone through the whole system of amending the Constitution, and on this side of the coin, we have, is it going to be actually implemented? I want to take you back. This Constitution, yes, has been a Constitution that is, would I say, even before its amendment, even before we decide to do an amendment, have we been implementing the Constitution itself? So I think before we even look at implementing the amendments of the Constitution? Have we tried to implement the Constitution that we have been having? That is why my emphasis is on Article 1. Yeah? The supremacy of this Constitution. Are we going to be able to still have this Constitution? Because when you read Article 1, Article 1 states that, I'll read it verbatim. Article 1 states that Clause 1, this Constitution shall be under the legal authority of the University Charter, the Supreme Law of Uganda Christian University, and shall have binding force on all authorities and persons under the Student Guild. When you read that statement, there is a lot of ambiguity. Are we looking at the Constitution as being the supreme law of the Students Guild, or the university? Is it are we saying that it should be subject to the University Charter? So that is why in the proposed amendment we are looking at having a rephrasing of that statement. Yeah. But of course, that also still awaits the majority voting on the second sitting. But still, back to the question that you posed to me. I have hope. Yeah, I have hope. Because when you look at the process, the procedure of carrying out an amendment in the Constitution, we have a petition from the students that is under paragraph A. Paragraph B is a petition by the members of parliament to the speaker. And finally, 3, that is paragraph C, which states a petition by the DOSA. So all these three procedures that we have in this current amendment that we are looking at, I think that all these institutions, of governance in this university are all working together for this amendment. We are seeing that if the amendment is happening through a petition by the members of parliament, then they will submit their petition to the speaker. That we already have. We already have the members of parliament on board. We have the speaker. We have a legal committee that has been convened, and we are working on that. I don't know if you recall, but I will not recall the dates. I think it was around, it was early this week. No, it was early last week. I think that was the week of 23rd, beginning the week of 23rd on Monday. There had been series and consecutive alerts by Madame Dosa, who was informing us, please participate in this activity. So this brings another institution in play that is interested in having these amendments done. So if we have all these 3 bodies looking at it, I think then we are sure that the amendments that are going to be put in place are going to some degree, be implemented. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mwanika, I want to know from you, do you see this being implemented fully, and do you see the problems that we are having with this constitution still coming up with the amendment, or is it going to be a smooth run, and is the constitution going to be actually implemented?
The constitution being implemented, it depends on the political will of the people who are above the guild government. Of course, for this constitution to be implemented, what will be the political will of the vice chancellor, what will be the political will of the director of student affairs. So generally, yes, we can do the amendments, but are they going to be implemented? That's a question we should ask ourselves. Because we have had situations whereby the guild tribunal convicts the minister of corruption, and the higher authorities come up to that, no. It was not a right procedure, but yet this person was given a fair hearing. She was convicted. Evidence is overwhelming, but the higher authorities are saying that no, she's not guilty of everything. So, what will happen if these amendments are going to be done? Are the higher authorities going to comply? That's the question we should ask. So, my own wish and my own prayer is, just as our university motto goes, Alpha and Omega, God in the beginning and God in the end. Just as God has been with these MPs from the very start of the amendments. God should be with them up to the end, so that these things are implemented. Actually, we are not going to benefit from these amendments.
True.
These amendments, the people who are coming after us are the ones who are going to benefit from this.
Yes.
So the God who has been with us in the beginning should be the same God that should sit on the house of the bishops, that these things should be implemented. Because if it is not done so, then it means our efforts are just going to go wasted. So just as I've said, the universal motto says God in the beginning and God in the end. So God should be with us, because I have some doubts if some of those amendments will be implemented. But by the grace of by grace of the Lord, as Marvin has said, the director of student affairs, the DOSA, has been actively in this and encouraging students to participate. So we have seen her political will, and we believe that even the higher authorities can borrow a leaf from us, so that all these things are implemented, because we have been operating on irregularities. I think the constitution had been overthrown some time back. It had lost its relevance, if you look at it. With the circumstances and the situations we have been having in the universities, the constitution had been overthrown some time back, because just look at how elections are conducted. It is purely contrary to everything that is provided for in the constitution. So we should look at this constitution and how is it going to be supreme? Will the people above it, will they respect it, that if this thing has been done, and will they have that political will? That should be our questions. But I am a Christian who believes in God, and I know God is on our side, and hopefully everything will go on very well.
Okay, so as we close the show, as the students' body, Mr. Mrinji, what should we expect during the amendment and after the amendment?
I think our expectation should be optimism. Yeah, we should be very optimistic. I love what you said. As a Christian believer and as a Christian university, let us have a lot of optimism. Because as we have said, we are doing our part. Yeah? And the procedure, yeah, the process is, I wouldn't say lengthy, but I would say that it requires time. It's not a lengthy one, but it just requires some patience. Let us move with the procedure, the way it is outlined in the Constitution. Let us meet all the relevant bodies that have a key role to play, and let us be ready to receive an amended Constitution. Because, as I said, the last time the Constitution is supposed to be amended after a period of 5 years. The last time we had an amendment was in 2018. And the amendment that we had in 2018, surprisingly, this is one of the topics that we had in the last sitting, that the amendment of 2018 just gave the Constitution, I think it gave it a preamble, and nothing much changed. I think there was a big number of people there was a big number of the honorables in the House of Parliament in the last sitting who were following the 2012 Constitution. And yet we have an amendment of 2018. Yeah. So that means that the amendments that we have also been having have not been really as critical as we expected them to be. Yeah. So what I can tell you is that, of course, I was not exhaustive today with most of the amendments that we have, but what I can tell you is that many of them are lined up, and at least we expect that a lot will come, a lot of change will come. So that is why I say we should be very optimistic to receive a revised copy, an amended copy, that will hopefully be implemented by the next guild governments that will come after that, and that we shall have less undue technicalities as we conduct, for example, the elections, as we conduct tribunal hearings, as we conduct parliamentary sittings, as we have government officials who we know are specifically doing a specific job on government. My conclusion has turned into a reintroduction. I would love to end there.
Maybe to supplement on what I had said earlier, I think one of the things that Parliament should consider regarding the budgeting and allocation of resources. I think these are one of the things that Parliament should put into consideration, much consideration, because if I'm to look at the what we claim that it is a guild budget that was released, if you see, most of the money is not going on the things that are students that are not on the interest of the students. So the parliament should clarify on which percentage should go to the leisure activities of the guild officials, and which percentage should go to things that benefit the students, and which percentage should go to the salaries. Not most of the money going to vendors and Menvu. At least they should try to clarify and try to divide this money into percentages. At least we should know that clubs and societies are receiving this. If you look at the budget of the clubs and societies, it is very miserable. How can you give a club around 70,000 or 60,000? How is it going to benefit it? So it doesn't really make sense. Parliament should find a way of how they can, how to improve on the budget allocations, because every government that comes into power, it allocates the resources according to their interests. If they have interest in Menvu and the vendors, then they will give it most to their welfare and everything. So that should be also considered. And even I think I would propose that the parliament should purely remove the clubs and societies from the office of the vice president, I think, and they should put up a committee, a standing committee in parliament that can be in charge of these clubs and societies, so that these clubs at least they can have, I can say, a bigger negotiating power on the budget and the allocation of everything. So that I think that will try to improve on this, because funding from clubs and associations from the guild government is very, very, very poor. Very poor. Actually, the money that goes to the welfare of the guild officials is more than the money that goes to the clubs and societies. Can you imagine that? That people going there to eat chapatis, and the budget that goes to chapatis and Menvu is more than the budget that goes to the associations. So those are the things that should be addressed. Associations should be put into consideration. We should focus on things that are going to benefit the students, and the parliament should find ways of how they can address this concerning the allocation. At least if they come up with this, such amount of money should be allocated for this. But as we're also telling parliament to see how they can allocate those percentages, is also the university fulfilling its obligations it's made in the student data, that this percentage of money has to be given to guild governments. Because if you see, money is reducing every year. Every guild government, money keeps on reducing. Money keeps on reducing. Is that the obligation that the university pledged, that it will be giving 30-something% of the student fee to the guild government? Why is that money reducing every year? Yet the number of students are increasing every year. We are receiving new students, the numbers are increasing. So why should the guild budget increase? So even the university should sit down, should meditate, and be like, yes, this is it. We have received many students. But as we students are busy squeezing the guild government, are they getting what they are supposed to get?
Indeed.
That's the question we should also ask ourselves. So as we are squeezing these guild officials, we should also start, reminding the university, this is the obligation that you made that you're going to fulfill, that this is the percent that the guild government is supposed to receive. The money they are giving them this year as a good government, is it equivalent to the percent that they are supposed to get?
So, Mr. Mwandeka, do you think we have money to eat the chapatis and the vendors?
It is there, of course.
So, unfortunately, from your statement, I don't think that money is there for this guild government.
It will come. Money will come.
Thank you very much.
Money will come.
Thank you very much for your views and your submissions. Dear students, we encourage you to actively participate, because this benefits all of us. Please actively participate in the constitutional amendment of the guild constitution. Thank you, and thank you for tuning into the Focus Point. I remain Ninah Nankunda, your host for today.
You are watching UCU Focus TV.